All right, sorry about that. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another fun weekend of breaks. We got a little pro debut going on. The rest of this case that I found sitting in the back of my closet. We did the first 4 boxes last week or the week before. Had these 4 tonight and 4 more tomorrow. So welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, are we straight? Are we situated? Yeah. Okay. Especially if you're new to the channel, welcome. Bit about us. We've been around for over 7 years now. We break mostly baseball. We ship all cards from every break. And we're very generous with the top loading. And we ship as quickly as the little hands will move. If you are new to the channel, do us a favor and hit the old subscribe button there. eBay continues to run their sweepstakes. No purchase necessary there. Go to any of our eBay listings, look in the description. There's a link there. Follow the link, and you can win some free cards. And of course, as always, our favorite thing to talk about in the world, chefsportscards.com, our website. We got a bunch of good breaks over there, very close to being full. Topps Holiday and Topps Chrome Update Megas. Both pick your team. I think both have 7 teams left in them. And we also have a Topps Holiday random break up there, too, with about 12 or 13 spots left. So head on over there. Next week, we're going to do, once the advent calendars get here, we're going to do an advent calendar break. I know they're pretty rare and people are dying to get them. So keep an eye out for that. It'll be up in the next day or two. All right, let's go over the teams. D-backs, Jose Z. Braves, Bruce N. Orioles and Red Sox, Javier G. Cubs, Chris L. White Sox, Bruce N. Reds, Stephen N. Guardians, Thomas M. Rockies, Bruce N. Tigers, Graham P. Royals, Javier G. Astros and Angels, Jose C. Dodgers, Javier G. Brewers, Bruce N. Twins, Stephen M. Marlins, Jose C. Mets, Greg B. Yankees and A's, Bruce N. Phillies, Graham P. Pirates, Javier G. Cardinals and Padres, Stephen M. Giants, Ryan B. Mariners, Doug P. Rays, Stephen M. Rangers, Doug P. Blue Jays, Jose C. And Nationals, Ryan B. What's up, John? How are you, buddy? Hopefully, we can get those last few teams sold in that update break. We'll do that tomorrow. Well, we can do any of them tomorrow. It's Saturday. We got all day. Happy, man. My kid's heading home from school tomorrow. Have the kid in the house. It's so weird. I texted him today just out of curiosity, like what's going on with Thanksgiving. He's like, "Oh, I'll be home tomorrow." I was like, "Excuse me." I thought he'd have classes for the first few days of the week, but he said his classes were canceled and he has one that's online. So the boy will be home from Tennessee, which will make me very happy. All right. Let's do it. Good luck, everybody. Out of the gate. Ooh, out of the gate, 23 of 25. Look at that. Termer Johnson. I know we're looking for Skeens, but that is not a bad one there for the Pirates. Get a clap for that one. Down to one kid left. Yeah, man. I only have one kid to speak of. the king of Knoxville, as I call him. And the dog's coming too. Luna's coming home, our Belgian Shepherd, which I don't think my other dog's very happy about. He looks very upset when I told him. Grayson hit X Fractor. It's so weird when your kids are older. Like, I mean, last year was worse because last year was his first year in college, and we really didn't see him. Like last year, we went there for Thanksgiving. Jackson Holiday Heroes. But like we almost like forced ourselves to stay away. It's still weird though. Like he's still your little kid, you know. I really wish I could have had at least one more. But we were very lucky just to have my one son. It was not an easy thing. Cam Fisher, Chrome, And Jordan Beck to 150 for the Rockies. For Bruce. So it's weird. My wife and I don't know if I've ever told this story. My wife and I were next door neighbors from the time we were 5 years old. Here's something you don't hear every day. We started dating when we were 16. Yeah, I think we were 16. We got married when we were 24 or 25. Just for some perspective, I'm 51 now and still married. But it was funny because for years, like in my 20s, and my wife and I would just work. I mean, we worked our whole lives. I was a chef. I was killing myself all the time, this and that. Well, I was working for a company, Del Frisco's, which I'm sure many of you know. And Sullivan's they also owned Sullivan's Steakhouse at the time. Brock Jones Chrome. And they wanted to move me, and they moved me out to Chicago. My wife had to stay in Philadelphia for her job. So for 4 years, my wife lived in Philadelphia, and I lived in Chicago while we were married. A cat to fill her time? No cats. I could tell you a great cat story. That will come up next. Dalton Rushing for the Dodgers. So anyway, we never talked about having kids, my wife and I. I worried she was pregnant more times than I can count when we were younger, of course. But it was something we just never talked about. And then when I was like 30, my company asked me to come back to the Philadelphia area, which is where I live and where I'm from originally. And at first I told them no like 5 times. I loved Chicago and living out there. I lived in Naperville, for those who are familiar with Chicago, called Emerson. And I was out there for like 4 years. And I just liked it. I liked everything out there, you know. So I kept telling him no. And then finally the guy who was the president of my company found out from someone that my wife lived in Philadelphia while I lived out in Naperville. So he started laying it on pretty thick. How? Don't you want to be with your wife? Blah, blah, blah. So I was like, all right. So I gave in eventually and moved back. Waltrip for the Braves. So after being back for about 6 months, my wife and I were out to dinner one night. I don't even think it was 6 months, it was a couple months. And I actually brought it up with her, and I was like, because we were both like 30 at the time. And I was like, you would think we want to have kids? Like, we've never had this conversation. And she's like, yeah, I think about it sometimes, you know? So we flipped the coin when we were at dinner that night at Brandon Barria for the Blue Jays. For Jose. So, and when it came up heads, we said heads we would try. So heads, it came up and said, all right, let's try to have a kid. Well, about 18 months later, we figured out we couldn't have kids. Like, my wife wasn't able to get pregnant. It was like, you got to be kidding me. For all those years, I worried about her getting pregnant. So we ended up having to do IVF and all that crazy stuff. And it worked, and we had him, but that was it. We kind of got a one-shot deal. Ty Floyd. I would have always loved to have a daughter. I mean, I loved having a son, but I don't know. I would have always liked to have had a daughter, too. So you said your wife got a cat. Let me tell you a crazy story about a cat. I had a cat when I went to Chicago, when I lived in Naperville. I was out there by myself, and I was working so much. I was working 18 hours a day, 7 days a week. I wouldn't get a dog. I'm a dog person. I've had dogs my whole life. But I was like, there's no way I can leave a dog sitting at home without anyone there all that time, you know? Dylan Beavers. So I got a cat. New York, for sure. New York has a different type of pizza. That's the thing. Like, regular, flat, like, thin pizzas, New York, hands down. Chicago is amazing deep dish pizza. But it's a totally different thing. Deep dish pizza is like a casserole, you know, like it's like a casserole of meat and cheese, and they're two very different things. That's you always hear that kind of argument between them, but they're almost not the same food, you know. Um, yeah, I would have loved to have had a daughter. I really would. It would have been. I'd have been very content with that. Although, like I said, I'm very content having my son. Anyway, when I moved to Chicago, I always had animals my whole life. I always had dogs and stuff. But being there by myself and working that much, I was like, I can't leave a dog cooped up in a house while I'm at work all day. He's never going to get to walk or this or that. So I went to the mall and bought a cat. And again, we're talking, this was 98. Yeah, 1998. I bought a cat at the mall for $29.99. That cat lived for 24 and a half years. She just died like 2 years ago. And this poor thing, Alex Sanchez, she was not nice at all. And not many cats are, That's why I like dogs. Dogs are personable. Cats are very standoffish. Many of them are very mean for the most part. But I got to the point with this cat. She got so old, I was like, I might have to call Guinness or something here because this cat just would not die. Well, it ended up when she was about 5. Yeah, she had to be like 5 years old. When I moved back to the Philadelphia area, I took her to the vet for something. And the vet was like, oh, she has a heart murmur. Shim Chrome. And they were like, she has a heart murmur and we want to fix it and it's going to be like $10,000. And I was like, you're out of your friggin' mind. I love animals. I love dogs. I love cats. I have a very firm number in my head that I will only spend so much on fixing an animal before. Because, yes, I love this dog and I will love the next one too. That kind of thing. Look at that thing. Bonilla Gold and Mini Diamond 42 of 54 Toronto. Jose, nice hit, man. Like, I've met people who've spent like 15 grand on fixing their dogs, and I'm like, are you out of your mind? So anyway, for like 8-10 grand, whatever it was, they could fix her heart murmur. I was like, nah, it should be fine, And the cat ended up living almost 25 years. And in the end, the vet told me the reason she probably lived so long was because of the heart murmur. Because, like, it slowed her blood pressure down. She was smaller than the average cat, like Tommy Troy for Arizona. Like, she was kind of like, I don't know, maybe 70% of the size of a regular cat, a little bit smaller, a little bit slower, a little bit this. But that's what made her, like, live forever, And they, as she got older, like, she was in rough shape, don't get me wrong. And I felt so bad, but she wasn't like in pain. I would never leave an animal in pain, like put her down, I took her to the vet and they were like, she's not in pain, but she had cancer. She had this, she had that. And they were like, just let it run its course. If she seems like she's uncomfortable, bring her in, we can. But she never got that way, Maui Ahuna for the Giants. Numbered, where is it? 6 of 150. And she was a mess. She really was. Like, I even asked them, and they're like, "We'll put her down if you want to." And then I'd be like, "Well, does she need to be put down?" Well, no, she's she's hanging in. So I felt bad. I didn't want to kill her just to kill her, like, even though she was not in the greatest shape. Giants is Ryan. So, but she was on death's door for the whole year, kind of coming up to her actual death, And then one morning, like, she was just, I go downstairs and there was a towel on the floor and the cat was under the towel. My son put it over. She died. My son went down before school and saw she was dead and put a towel over her. Didn't even say anything to us. I was just like, you're a weird kid. My favorite MLB player. That's a loaded question. Let's see. Of all time or currently playing? Give me some parameters here. because I have different answers. If you're talking now, you're talking about all time, or it's funny too because like some of them don't really have a reason why. They were just guys I liked. Lee for the Tigers. I mean, I'm a homer. You know, I live in Philly. It's hard not to like Harper. He's been so clutch in recent years, but he also hasn't won, you know, a World Series, which is a little annoying. I really like Gunnar Henderson a lot. Now I'm just talking about guys who are playing now. I think Gunnar Henderson has the ability and to be like the next Trout, next, you know, Bobby does too. Bobby Witt, both of them are so good. Kendall George. All time, my favorite MLB player was Dave Winfield, and I don't know why. When I was a kid, I loved Dave Winfield. I mean, certainly was a phenomenal baseball player. So, I mean, that was enough reason, but I was like obsessed with Dave Winfield when I was a kid. And I really don't have a reason for it. I can't really remember a reason. So, Jordan Beck auto for Colorado. 61 of 199. Yeah, Bobby and Gunnar are two extreme talents, I think, in the game, especially for their age. I mean, they're both, what, 23 years old? And sometimes you can't, I suppose sometimes you really can't tell until they get past that first few years of their career because, I don't know. You look at like a Juan Soto, who is amazing. Look at this guy for the Mets, Diego Mosquero, numbered 6 of 10. For Greg, he's a big Mets fan. He'll love that. Yeah, yeah, maybe. I mean, I would have to really look into that, but yeah, you might be right about that, Miriam Boyd. I always think there's this thing in every baseball player's career, like year 3 to 5, year 4 to 6, where you see if they're gonna, you know, like Soto, who's an amazing player. I'm certainly in no way, you know, knocking the guy. Holiday heroes. But when he went to San Diego, you know, he didn't. But then he goes to New York and he picks it back up again. So who knows? I mean, but it's very cool to see two young guys play the same position with so much talent, and that you can kind of compare them to each other. Parker Messick, like Trout and Harper in their time. You know, now you have Gunnar and Bobby. You know, and I mean, there's a lot of other guys too, but I'm just, you know, kind of honing in on them. So, Goldie. Yeah, my only problem for Goldie is not him as a player. It's that I think he was kind of overshadowed when he was in Arizona, which I think pretty much anybody who plays in Arizona is kind of like, which is really odd to me because you think because of their weather and they have half of spring training there and this, that baseball would be a bigger deal there than it is, but it's kind of, Figueroa for Texas. It's kind of like like the Siberia baseball in pro ball. I mean, guys who play there, their values tend to not be great. They tend to not get a ton of attention. So and if you look at Goldie, I mean, from a value aspect, and I'm just completely talking about cards, which is a different thing. His value's never where it should have been. Christopher Torrin, for speaking of the D-backs, for Jose. Oh, that's the best card I've ever pulled. People ask me this all the time. It's a really tough question. Tough question to answer because, again, do you base it on value or do you base it on we pulled a first Jason Dominguez gold when his Bowman was out, and the guy sold it for like 28 grand the next 3 days later or something like that, you know. But is that the best card ever? Now, I don't know. Like that's just a hard one to answer. Um, from a value aspect, that was a pretty big one, that's for sure. But I mean, we've pulled. Can't think of anyone we haven't pulled that's big. You know. I'm trying to think unique wise, like something unique that we pulled. Colin Houck. Here's an odd card that we pulled that's actually extremely valuable. It was from this was like 3 years ago. From Topps UK, we pulled that Megan Malik Queen card, which those things are like super, 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 super short printed. And the guy who had it ended up selling it for like 8 or 9 grand. That card, like that was just an odd thing, you know. I don't know. The problem is when you open this many cards when you're a breaker, they start to kind of run together some too. You know, you kind of start to forget some cards that you pulled. Sebastian Walcott. Yeah, that was a nice one. Yeah, I've pulled more than a few Ohtani autos. Sometimes it's more about the oddity of it. Like, especially for us, like we pulled that Mac Jones out of Prism football, like the only Prism football I've ever broken. Called Emerson for the Mariners, 39 of 99. And it's so funny because again, that card was worth like 15K. Now it's probably worth like $50. Seattle is Doug. There you go, buddy. Yeah, the thing is too, like, depends on what you're opening, you know? If you're doing super high end dynasty and stuff like that, it's not that difficult to pull, you know, really nice stuff out of there. Sometimes it's the fact of pulling like we pulled out of Series 1. I think it was 2020 Series 1. This is before they started doing the gold mirror short prints that they do now. It was the super, super, super short print of Vladdy Guerrero, and it was one in like 98,000 packs. I mean, it's like four of them in the entire run or something. You know, I mean, hypothetical, but like sometimes it's not even necessarily the value of it. It's just the difficulty of the actual card, you know. Spencer Jones at 15 of 150 for the Yanks. Yeah. Well, I've told this story before, but um Yankees is Bruce. Here you go, buddy. Um what was what was Franco's first in 20 or 21? I can't even remember now. 20, right? 20 Bowman. So, yeah, I think it was 20. Anyway, this is where his first Bowman card was in. And we were doing blaster breaks of it. This was, you know, when it first came out. We would do 10 blaster boxes. And Michael Carico for Carico, yeah, for the Cubbies. 51 of 75. So in those breaks, the Rays were the biggest team that would sell, and they'd usually sell like around $70. Um, like that was kind of around where the bids would get on that break. And for some reason, whoever bid them up couldn't pay for them. Like, I don't know. They actually contacted me. It wasn't some scumbag who just didn't pay. Like the guy contacted me. Hey, listen, I'm having a problem with my card, this and that. You know, hey, what do you want me to do? Try to resell it. I said, okay. So I go into the chat at the beginning and I tell everyone, like, listen, Tampa's up for sale. It was, you know, $72 if anyone's interested, or make me an offer that's reasonable, you know. No, 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 no. Everybody's saying no, they don't want it. I'm like, you sure? Torero for the Pirates for Javier. And honestly, if somebody was it 19, okay, 2019. So honestly, if somebody came back and said, "I'll give you $40," I'd have gone like, "All right," and I'd just given it to them. But nobody wanted it. I asked over and over and over. Sure as hell, I opened that thing up. We pull like a green First Wander auto in that thing. And I mean, they all agreed, nobody wanted it. I said, all right, I'm going to have to take it then, which I never do. I don't like doing that. But back then, I mean, we were a few years in, but we were still kind of getting off the ground. So back then, we used to actually have like sometimes teams that were left that didn't sell and stuff like that. And I felt so bad when I pulled it. And I even like apologized to the guys in the break, and they were all like, "Nah, dude, you asked us, it's yours." And I mean, it was like $1,000 card or something. I mean, it was just one of those things where somebody could have picked it up in the chat for. There was a time there back when we used to not sell out all the time. That basically, if you picked up a team in the chat, you knew you were going to get something. It happened all the time. Like, oh, these two teams never sold, and people are like, "Oh, I'll give you $6." All right, and then they'd hit like a gold auto to 50 or something. How many do I have? Like own personally? Probably like 15 or 20. And they're of all different, from gold vinyls to superfractors to platinum 101s to I don't include plates in that. I probably have another 20 plates too, but yeah, I'd probably say about 20 total. See, now you got me thinking about trying to run through them in my head. There's probably some in those boxes I don't even remember in there. I have so many cards, it's absurd. It really, I pity, if I have a heart attack tomorrow, I pity my wife and son for having to figure out what they're going to do with all this crap if I'm gone. Like, I know somebody's just going to come in and buy it all and rip my wife off on it. She won't even care. She'll be like, just get it out of here. Just go ahead, take it. Ryan Clifford. Yeah, I have. It's coming up for culling soon. I can tell you that. It's going to need to be necessary soon. I've done it in the past. Johnny Farmello for the nuts for Doug. It's going to be time for culling again soon. There are some cards, it's like from certain sets that you're like, nothing's ever going to be worth anything in here. It's just got to go. Yeah, I think it should be one of four. I do. I mean, it's one color, but it's 4 plates to a card. It's always the way I feel. I just don't count them as one of ones. I don't know. It's just the way I feel. I think they should be one of four. 4 plates, 4 colors, 1 card. Bryce Eldridge Chrome. Plates are one of those things that people really aren't that into, too. It's kind of funny. Like, they're cool. Like, when you get one, you're like, ah, cool, look, a plate. But honestly, I mean, don't get me wrong. I suppose if you pull an Ellie De La Cruz plate, you're going to get plenty of money for it. But for the most part, they don't hold a ton of value for what they are. You know, it's kind of like minis in the hobby. People don't if it's an A&G mini, it's one thing, but if it's like a Bowman mini or something like that, it doesn't hold a ton of value. Redfield Chrome. I have a bunch of sets of them. When they do the Bowman Chrome minis, and you get the full set, and then you get the 30 parallels in them. Oh, I love those things, but nobody ever really wants to buy them or likes them that much. Drew Thorpe for the Barons, which is the White Sox. Bruce. Brian, what's your biggest card you have, buddy? I would say the biggest card I own personally is I have a 51 Bowman Mantle. It's in my safety deposit box at the bank. I do have a 52 also, but it's not in. Not that the 51's in the best shape. It's not bad, but the 52's kind of beat up. So personally, the 51 Mantle is the biggest card I own. I'm not really a guy who owns a ton of massive cards like some guys do. Caden Wallace X Fractor. But I have quite a few that fall in the like 300 to $1,000 range. You know what I mean? Like, but not the, oh, here's a $15,000 this or whatever. I don't have a lot of that type of stuff. Drew Gilbert to 150, 2 of 150 for the Rumble Ponies, aka the Metropolitans. That's what's always interesting to me about collecting them. You know, people collect for many different reasons. Some people just want to try and make money. And it certainly can be done if you know what you're doing. Whether it be buying boxes and breaking, whether even being breaks. There's certainly money to be made off of breaks if you buy the proper teams and know what you're doing. Because there are always a few teams out there that people aren't that interested in that have value, you know. But Chase Davis, some people, which would be me, just get attached to certain cards for little to no real reason. You know, like I have cards. In fact, there's one right in the back there, which I've talked about many times, is the Abreu rookie. Guy's not even in the league anymore. Jose Abreu, man, it's a mess. It's been sitting back there. But the time it took me to find this card back in the day, well, I have to clean that big time. There's just something about it. It's not value. It's not, Christ, it's probably not worth anything now. I mean, at its height, it was worth like $100 maybe. But the story to how I collected it and what I did to get it and how badly I wanted it at the time is enough for me to love that card and always keep it, you know? Yeah, no, I mean, like I said, I have I have a fair few of cards that are valuable, but I have tons of autographs that aren't worth anything. Boxes full of them, you know? Wow, Colt Emerson working the rainbow for the Nuts, aka the Mariners. Yeah, no, I have. It's almost depressing sometimes when you go through them. 91 of 299. The best is every once in a while. So like behind me in this room, there's about, well, in the closet too, there's probably about 50 6-row boxes in here. You know, the big 6-row boxes, which hold what? I don't even know, 5,000, 6,000 cards. There's about 50 of those in this room. Blade Tidwell. About 8 of them I would consider like my collection. You know, stuff that I like, stuff that I keep, you know. The rest of them are just filled with cards. All kinds of cards. Chisholm 101 Auto, nice. From what? What products are from? But yeah, sometimes you go in and like I'll crack a box I haven't looked in a long time and go through, because sometimes I find stuff that it wasn't valuable then but is now, you know. Jace Jung. But sometimes I go in and I see guys, I'm like, oh, what happened to him? And then I look him up and it's like released. I'm like, oh, damn. You know? My worst is I have boxes of stuff that needs to be listed for sale. And when I say boxes, I'm not kidding. I mean, I probably have 3,000 cards waiting to be listed for sale that just sit there. Another nuts. What is going on? Colt Emerson, 3 in. You're 3 deep into the rainbow, Doug. It's crazy. I literally could hire someone, and I swear to God, probably put them to work for 2 years just listing stuff for me. And I work on it every once in a while. I get in a roll, I get 50 or 100 up, and then I just get too busy with other stuff, and then they sit there, you know? And because of that fact, some have lost value. I'm not, I'm afraid to know what it is, but one day I'm just going to be like, okay, I'm going to take like the next 3 months and just sit down and post cards, and put them all on auction. They're all going to be started like a 99-cent auction. Whatever they sell for, they sell for. They just go. John, what do you think is your most valuable Brewers card? Brewers auto. Robbie Snelling for the Padres, 143 of 150. Yeah, Jackson Holiday rookie chrome. Nice. That's a nice card. That's a really nice card. I have a couple Jackson Holiday first Bowman autos. I think I have three of them. And then I have, and that was what, 22, right? Wasn't that 22 his first? And then I have a couple 23s also. I have a ton of cards I need to get graded too. And I only grade for two reasons. It's either for my personal collection, for stuff or to do giveaways. I send in 50 cards, 20 of them I'm keeping, and the other 30 I give away on breaks and stuff like that. Wyatt Langford. What's up, Chris? Like, I love this card right here. And I can't tell you why. I just love it. 1966 Batman. I saw it one day. I was like, I love this card. And again, it's not worth much. I mean, it's like $50 or something like that. But now this one's worth a lot more over here. This is the super short print, super short print. Gunnar Henderson. This is like $800, $1,000, something like that. But I'll be honest, I like the Batman card better than the Gunnar Henderson card. Oh yeah, with the seat relic from the stadium. Yeah, that is cool. '23, 22 Holiday was his first, right? Wasn't that, or no, wasn't what, 22 draft? Is that where his first was? I can't remember now. Again, you see so many cards, man. My brain is like fried on this stuff anymore. Marcus, that's why I'm like shocked. Some guys I run into, like Jabs is one of those guys where like you show him any card and he's like, oh, that's a 1976 O-Pee-Chee, blah, blah. I'm like, oh my God. Like, I don't know. I can't remember. I know it's an O-Pee-Chee card. What year was that again? Like, I'm so bad at remembering the designs and stuff. It's like guys who know baseball stats like off the top of their head, like, oh, who played second base in 1944 for the, Chris Newell, for the Washington Senators, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, oh, yeah, that was Sammy. He hit 276 with 14 RBIs and 13 stolen bases. And you're just like, jeez. All right, dude. Like that encyclopedic kind of, recall on stuff like that. For the Mets, Marco Vargas, numbered 5 of 299. Oh, the Green Monster relic? Yeah. Eckersley. Crazy cards, man. Crazy cards. One of my other favorite cards is the hot dog vendor guy. I don't know if you guys remember this, but if you're a little newer to the hobby, you might not have seen this. But Pro Debut before COVID, um, it used to be 4 hits, but it used to be two relics and two autos in a hobby box. Caden Wallace. And the relics were always like crazy. Like they'd get a T-shirt from like a hot dog vendor at some stadium in Tennessee, and make cards out of them, or they'd take a flag from another stadium in Washington somewhere, or they always had these crazy relics in them. They were a lot of fun, and they stopped doing it when COVID hit because they didn't play baseball that year. So they said, well, they didn't have anything to use for a relic, which I kind of found hard to believe, but that's when they went to the 4 auto system in here. But the old relics they used to put in Pro Debut were the best. I have a bunch of them that I just love. Ortiz. Yeah, I've been holding on to that guy for a while. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. I don't know. He might just be a hold forever and see what happens with the guy. It's one of those cards that I could sell it right now for a nice piece of chunk of change, but if he continues on the trajectory he's on, the card could be worth a fortune one day. Let my son sell it. you know, most of what I collect personally or keep for value, I assume, is not going to be sold by me, but by my kid one day or his kids one day. Austin Charles. So like I have all of Shohei Ohtani's rookie Topps Chrome rookies. I have all of them graded. It's 10s. Like I have a set of all of them, and I'd never sell them. I'll just let my son sell them one day, see what he gets for them. Zantello for the Red Sox. Javier. But then there's other days when I'm like, well, that's a nice chunk of change. Maybe I should just, I don't know. It depends on the mood I'm in, I suppose. I'm always amazed. Like we were talking about Goldie before and his value not being like I have a couple of really gorgeous, really nice Goldschmidt autos that low numbered, high quality products, so on and so forth that are $70 or whatever, and you think, wow, the career that guy's had, you think his value would be higher. Another guy I'm noticing that with lately is Pete Alonso. I'm shocked at how inexpensive Pete Alonso's stuff is for as good as he's been since he's been in the league. You know, um, I don't know. A lot of times, sometimes these guys get much more valuable when they're done. Or Hall of Fame one day or whatever it may be. Like I have a bunch of Ichiro autos, and I've always been, and again, not that his stuff sells pretty well, but I've always been waiting for this to go on the ballot, which I think he is this year. Kiefer Lord, figuring if he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, which he should be. I don't know that he will be, but he should be. That'll help his value kick up some too. Warming. Brian not want to be in the conversation anymore. What happened there? It's so weird. I've never seen that before. Ty Floyd for the Reds. 121 of 199. I've never seen like every message retracted like that before. That's so strange. Reds is Steven. There you go, buddy. Adam Mazer, X-Fractor. Cheerio Heroes. Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. I don't know what. That's so weird. I've just never seen that before. I've seen a person retract a message. I've never seen them all retract like that. I was about to ask maybe one of you guys like kicked him for some reason or something. Bryson Mounts. My Ichiro conversation might have struck a tone. I don't know. Jesus Baez and 88 of 199, a Blade Tidwell. And Mets just keep on rolling in pro debut. All right, last couple packs. Ty Floyd. Didn't we just have one of these? Yeah. Ty Floyd rainbow working too. For Steven. There you go, buddy. Javier, you got it, buddy. Last pack. O'Halloran. And that will do it. All righty, folks. I want to thank everyone for joining us this evening. As always, I could not do this without y'all, and I do truly, truly appreciate it. If you're not in any of our other breaks tonight, please stay safe, stay healthy out there. And we will be here all weekend, so come and check us out. And of course, go check out chefsportscards.com. Got some great breaks over there, very close to filling. Like to get those broken also. And if I don't see it all, have a happy holiday. Oh, that was the other thing I was going to bring up. It is the holiday season, so I implore everyone to be a little patient with the postal system. We're getting into that time of year where things can get a little out of hand with the post office from time to time. So just please remember that in the back of your head. You know us, we ship as quickly as we possibly can, but sometimes the post office has a whole world of their own they're dealing with over there. Oh man, we got some low numbered stuff here. All right. Hit recap for 2024 Topps Pro Debut quarter hobby case break, or third hobby case break, number 18. We got a ton of chromes here. We'll go through and pull out any of the good guys. X-Fractors, 1 per box. Caden Wallace, Cooper Engel, Grayson Hitt, and Adam Mazer. Numbered parallels. For the Mets, Blade Tidwell to 199. Michael Carrico, 75 for the Cubbies. Jordan Beck for Colorado to 150. Also to 150, Maui Ahuna for the Giants. Spencer Jones for the Yankees. Drew Gilbert for the Mets. And Robbie Snelling for the Padres. And the autographs. Base autos of Ty Floyd, Colt Emerson, Zantello, Drew Thorpe, Johnny Formello, Emmanuel Taro, Christopher Torin, Brandon Barria, and Dalton Rushing. Numbered to 299, Marco Vargas and Colt Emerson. To 199, Ty Floyd and Jordan Beck. To 99, Colt Emerson. To 50, Bonilla for the Blue Jays. To 25, Timur Johnson for the Pirates. And to 10, Diego Mosquera? Something like that, from the Mets. Numbered 6 of 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So we did get one bonus auto in there. All right, folks, again, thanks so much for joining me. I do appreciate it. Please stay safe, stay healthy out there. We'll be back in 5 with Alan and Ginter. Have a great night. Take care.